It's crazy how many people are going through relationships and they're dissatisfied and unhappy, and they prefer to complain about it instead of do something about it. So I'm here to share a bit of light on why, what's going on, what's the underlying cause of relationships not succeeding. And it's a simple thing, 2 words: unrealistic expectations. So often people are comparing their partner to a fantasy figure, someone that only has wonderful qualities and no negative qualities, or they're comparing their existing partner to the best elements of their past partner. Or if it's in the context of a relationship, the leaders expecting the team to be more proactive or more intuitive and more self-governing without giving the proper guidance or without having a clear line of communication. Or so often the employee may be dissatisfied and unhappy with the way they're being treated by the boss, yet they don't speak up about it either, and they have this fantasy figure of what a great boss is like. It's the unrealistic expectations that people are placing on one another without communicating. When we don't know how to communicate our needs from the heart, not from our ego with expecting more than is reasonable and wanting something for nothing, so it's unequal exchange. When we can communicate and have a mature conversation, all these, for lack of a better word, all these bullshit expectations that are destroying relationships in the workplace, in the intimate scene, in the family dynamic, in the friendship scene. It's the unrealistic expectations, expecting someone to read our mind instead of speaking our mind, expecting someone to understand us instead of helping them to understand us. So often we wear this mask or we wear this guard and we have this defensive persona where we won't let people in because we want them to prove themselves to us before we can trust them and open ourselves up to them. Yet that's what's going on both sides. So both people are at a standoff going, well, I'm not going to give more until I get more. So again, it's an unrealistic expectation. The key to a great relationship in any field is by being realistic, not comparing anyone to a fantasy, by having mature conversations. If we have a mature conversation, then we can say, okay, I did my part. I spoke from the heart, I was realistic, I was fair, I was reasonable, I was patient, I was understanding. When we know we've ticked off these things, then how the other person responds to us, then that's on them. That's okay. If they don't give you what you need and you've been clear in articulating what it is that you need and you've asked them what they need and how you can fulfill those needs, if you've done your part and they still don't reciprocate, then you can say, okay, this is not a healthy relationship. I'm moving on. And then you can do so peacefully. But when there's always something that we could do more, I always ask myself personally, I always have a question where I say, okay, could I have done more? Could I have responded differently? How could I have behaved more proactively or more thoughtfully? How could I have come from a place of more love versus expecting something that's unreasonable? As long as I can say, yes, I could have done more, then I can't blame my partner for having done more themselves. Because then it's an unrealistic expectation. I'm wanting something from someone that I'm not willing to do myself. And so when we can walk into any relationship and say, okay, I'm going to give as much as I can, and I'm going to communicate effectively what I need, and I'm not going to expect anything from them that I'm not willing to do myself, then we dissolve so many of the hurdles and obstacles that we seem to be coming up against. And I've seen it time and time again where people think that it's the other person that's the problem in the relationship. And then they go to another job or get into another intimate relationship, and then the same thing happens. And after a while, we have to start seeing a pattern where, hey, maybe it's not other people. Maybe it's us. Maybe our expectations are unrealistic. Maybe we're expecting something from others that we haven't been willing to do ourselves. And I get it. Sometimes there's fear. Sometimes there's limiting beliefs. Sometimes there's baggage that we haven't resolved from the past. So if any of these things are holding you back and you feel that it's too much to take on yourself to get yourself out of whatever situation it may be in, then drop me a PM. Send me a message. I'd love to have a chat and work out how you can create the change you're looking for. I know from my own experience that relationships don't have to be this constant challenge where we feel like digging our head in the sand. So I trust this has shared some insight to help us start thinking more about making our expectations realistic, communicating more effectively, and expecting nothing that we aren't willing to give ourselves first. So I look forward to hearing your comments. I hope to hear from you. I'm sending you much love, and I'll see you in the next video.